What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the Tahyira show. This is Talk 17. I feel like I've abandoned this channel. Low-key kind of did. Just because I've been in transition and to create this YouTube channel. So I got this lip gloss. I got a lot of like products also. Elf. It's like super. So I'm gonna be like, does this video include a product? Yes, bitch. Welcome back. Happy holidays to you guys. I've been just, thoughts are not clear. As you can see, right now I've been working tons of hours. I've been in California, just matching. I was in a play. If you follow me on Instagram, you know what's going on in my current space of life. But if you only follow me here on YouTube, make sure you follow me at I Live the Good Times Roll on Instagram, because that's where I actually keep everybody up to date. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Talk 17 is going to cover, this is what I've been thinking about, and this wasn't the content that I was going to talk about here. Like the next one will be more in line of what I was, what we're teaching and what we're talking about. But I wanted to just stop and make a point in the world right now. Everyone is talking about we're about to be shut down again. And I'm like, what would be the title of the video if I was going to make a video right now? It'd be self-control is the goal. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Welcome to the Tahyira show. What's the importance of self-control? I feel like I never really I thought I had control, but therapy taught me a different level of control. It's like, I actually know how to hold it. I know when to let it go and to curse somebody out, and know when my emotions are coming to the point where it's like, I don't care how I look. Before I didn't know where those lines were. It's just like, I used to be a person that's like, damn, I didn't even remember what happened. Damn, I didn't even mean to say all that. I was just emotional and whatever. Now it's like, if I'm coming with passion and emotion to you, because I want to bring the heat, Self-control. But living in a pandemic, what it's also taught me, I became more of a person I've always been this person, right? But I've been paying more attention to human beings in this specific kind of space, because it's affecting so many of us at the same time, right? It's like, I talked about this on my Rizzle channel, a place that we can learn about how people deal with like grief or like loss and moving on through your life. It's like people who went to war, right? It's like subgroups of humanity. The pandemic is not a subgroup of humanity. The pandemic is humanity. It's happening across the globe. Now here in the United States, we have vaccinations, we have all these different things. Everything in our goddamn country is political at this point. I mean, the word political already just is losing what it even means, A social issue, a medical issue, a school issue, all our issues are political. They come down to political. We have a lot of just opinions at bay. People have time on their hands still, working from home, so you can feel the energy. And social media, if you're engaging, you're creating content, you're on TikTok, Snapchat, Periscope, Twitter, but you could just keep going. All these different Facebook groups. Self-control, wherever we are, wherever I'm at. Like, I speak for the Red Eye Media Group, which is my brand, right? Got into, someone was talking about something on Instagram, and I want the Red Eye to be more so in conversation where we are pushing that envelope, because that's what the brand is about. It's about thought provocation. So I did realize, though, there were parts in the conversation where I lost I'm responding as a Red Eye, as like a brand, and I got into Tahyira getting upset at a racist white person, So that was a loss of control. And it's like, okay, I'm stressed out, I'm having a long day, and all these other personal reasons. When I look back to that moment, it's like, oh, because you got turned up. You could have just hit delete, but you didn't, We have to be mindful of the things that we're controlling and the things that we're not saying. And if, like I say, even if you realize, hey, I may have came across crazy, like this is what I actually meant to say, at least say that. We're living in a space right now where people are fucking up, missing people's paychecks, hitting people by cars, knocking over riders, forgetting children in cars, all kinds of shit. And you're just like, oh, well, no. What's wrong is wrong. It was wrong before we was living in a pandemic. It was wrong before we was talking about mental health. It was wrong before whatever. Being a kind human being, being nice, self-control, figuring things out, being kinder just because. These are the things that we have to maybe reteach ourselves, Or just, like I say, this channel is about reminding us to just keep all these things that I'm mentioning in your everyday life. Like, obviously, every day we can't just be on it because we're not perfect beings. But my channel and the things I want to share here is to keep us on the track of good, To recognize the times where we're like, oh, whatever, I fucked up, go back and be like, hey, I fucked up. If you know it's a person that's gonna drum all over you and be like, oh my God, you know, you fucked it, whatever. You know, you just take the heat. Because that is the part about self-control. I feel like if you don't learn the consequences, you don't really learn control. You know, I learned from not liking the way I felt, even though I felt like I was in the right. It's still like, I'm sure I could have handled this a lot better. Self-control has a lot to do with maturity as well. I am turning 35 next year, so this channel's turning, like 5 years. I remember coming up here when I was like, about to be 30, and now I'm like 35, bitch. Why stop aging? Sorry, in the playback, I realized that the sweater that I'm wearing is like taking up space, and then you hear all the ruffling. So sorry about the previous clip. But yeah, moving on. So about self-control as being a goal. So I feel like we lost grasp of a lot of our normalcy, right? Like this is our new normal, which is not everybody knew it's not really new and whatever. This is my challenge for you guys here and for myself. How do I get back on creating goals and plans that still go down despite them? Maybe the new pandemic shutdown comes to New York City or California or both states that I do work in. How do I still maintain who I am? We have to step it up as human beings. Like, you know, the environment that we live in is being tested, right? For those of us who are spiritual, also tap into God and you understand the book of Revelation and things like that. We know that there's nothing new under the sun and these things happened before. People who understand Darwinism, for an example, right? It's the strongest, the fittest that survive. It's not really the fittest that survive. It's the species most adaptable to change. You know, a lot of people have this revolutionary end of the world. That's why they're stocking up all this shit. The people in the QAnon cult, for example, right? They're stocking up, selling all their shit to stock up on a bunch of ammo and shit. I guess they're gonna shoot people for the end of the world. I don't know how that ends I don't get that argument with the guns and if it's the end of the world, like why you need weapons. But there's people that think about that, you know? There's people who like me who think about the revolution, the real revolution, which is being fought at the stock market. Is the fact that there's 3 companies in this country, Walmart, Amazon, let's say Apple, T-Mobile, Sprint, like, you know, like those companies own everybody. You all work for them or a subsidiary of them or something like that. It's not that many, or you work for the government, you know? So it's not, you know, and people don't see it in that way, but it is. If you work at Facebook, you work for a privately owned American company. You still work somewhere. You know, you work at Netflix, Hollywood, the entire industry is all corporate. It's white people own it. If you work for anything on Hollywood, it's white people that own it, you know? Unless you work for Tyler Perry. Shout out to Tyler. I also want to shout out to Byron Allen and the Griot, because they just got a really, really important seat. This is like super sidebar out of, just because we're talking about this right now. I'm sure you guys read the Griot. It's a black-owned political site, you know, to balance the conversation between CNN and Fox. It's coming from there. April Ryan is a big person. She was already in the press corps and was getting access to Donald Trump and all that stuff. Donald Trump came at her a few times, you know, April Ryan. So shout out to them. It gives me motivation as to like why I run my company, the Red Eye Media Group. It's like, don't give up. Byron Allen started this company years ago, back in the 90s, and they're now getting a seat in the White House. It seems like, why does it take black people so long to do the shit that white people just pay for it? I don't know. It's all about the self-control, right? It's about balancing what our government is telling us to do, what the state in which we live in is telling us to do, which is in confliction most of the time. You live in New York and California, for example. The city, which is like for here in New York. I mean, it happened in California too. I worked in November as a health ambassador, basically for Westfield Mall. I was in Topanga, I was in Canoga Park, you know, Fashion Square, all those areas. So people were trying to figure out, and something I still struggle with in LA is like, where exactly is LA City versus the county of LA? Like the county of LA is huge. Like, you know, you're still in LA County until you get up to Ventura County. That's like the next county. But the city of LA is like, you know what I mean? So I was just explaining to people alone. It's like once you get to the valley, San Fernando, it's like you're no longer in LA City anymore. Like the mandate covers the city. People are just confused. I'm like, you can still like, you know, it's the same thing here in New York. Once you cross a line in Queens, you're now in Nassau County. It's like you can go in without the laws change when you know, and I come from criminal justice, so I'm always mindful about jurisdiction. It's just, my brain operates in this way. So it's that. It's like you don't even know where you are. And you know, everything is meant for us to just lash out and go crazy. Let me tell y'all what JetBlue did to me. On a flight back from California, I had a 5.5-hour delay in the Jacksonville International Airport because of JetBlue. They put too much fuel in their own plane, you know? Caused delays on me. I had a connecting flight to get me from Jacksonville up to New York. I had a 5-hour delay. It was the same plane. And they're like, no, don't worry. You guys if you have a connecting flight, don't worry. Like JetBlue scammed the shit out of their own passengers. And they're not coming to help us nothing because JetBlue's going poor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the corporation's losing money. People, they're firing people. Like, it's affecting everybody is what I'm trying to say, right? It's like the person at JetBlue couldn't say anything, but I'm sure if you email them, they'll probably try to give me, a credit for the next flight. Yeah, probably, but what's going to happen on the next flight? The same thing. Because we're all living here, right? So it's like I learned in that moment, too, in Jacksonville. It's like, you know what? At the end of the day, this is crazy, but it's nothing that none of us could do. Half of the flight of people trying to make it to New York was there in Jacksonville with me. We had whoever had meetings, whoever had college interviews, whatever it is that you were going to New York for, it's over because of JetBlue. You know, what can we do? I couldn't walk out. I literally was telling my friend venting before I started recording, and I'm like, I wanted to fucking just, bitch, walk out the airport. I'm like, I'm gonna just walk to New York because I'm over it. There's like literally nothing that I can do. What am I supposed to do? I don't have access to a plane, bitch. I don't have any money to. What am I gonna do? I learned self-control. I use this time to just, I end up writing, I end up researching, time that I didn't know I was gonna have. That's why life is fly. Life has been so crazy because, it's like I could have recorded that vlog in that moment, but I didn't. I'm talking about it right now. Yeah, this video is coming out around the holidays. So happy Merry Christmas to you guys. I started celebrating Kwanzaa a little bit more. So yeah, we still give gifts and stuff, but been talking around, just taking a consensus. I've been working around a bunch of coworkers. We're working in the back of like the district, so there's like tons of just people. There's a lot of staff here. There's at least 50 staff members every day that I'm around, and I'm just talking. And everyone's like, yeah, I just can't pull it together for Christmas. Not everyone. Some people are in the spirit. Some people are fighting. You know what I mean? I'm a person that's normally, I've been singing carols just to like try to pull it in, and even that I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to sing any of these songs. I'm going to sing something else, like whatever. I can't even get it in with music. It's just my mind is disconnected from what Christmas is supposed to be, and I'm like one of those people that's like, but that's not what Christmas is about, right? Like, I'm an advocate for that. My grandmother definitely decked the whole halls by herself. That was something that we do in tradition, and I'm like, I'm happy that you still did it because it's like and I've always been like, y'all know me, I'm real. So even when I'm like, no, just push through, it's like, bitch, if God is telling me just to don't, then it's given don't. I'm just giving don't. So there's a lot of us, I think, transition. Yesterday I talked to this girl that I just met. We probably might hang out because I build a rapport with a bunch of people. I've been here for a month. And she said she just came to New York. She lives in Brooklyn too, like not too far from where I live, like Crown Heights. And we were saying yesterday, she was like, I feel like I'm just in transition. So like the holidays like crept up on me. I'm not even like ready. Like I feel like, and I'm like, it's also our minds are just focused on other things. Like right now, I'm thinking about January already, December, February. I done skipped over Christmas, New Year, kind of my birthday too, which is coming up in January. It's just, my focus is just different. I'm running my business. I'm doing a lot more as a business owner personally these days than, in the years before. So it's like, yeah, no, all that money I would normally just throw, and even though I still love giving gifts. Like I made a gift today for my parents. I made 3 gifts today for my uncle, my other uncle, my husband. I already gave gifts to my aunt. I give stuff all the time. You know what I mean? It's like I give gifts when I feel good. So people know not to take it personal with me. But if you're not in the gift-giving spirit, if you're not in your regular spirit, yeah, maybe call it whatever it is. Low-grade depression, holiday depression, the winter time. I've been complaining. Yesterday was the first day of winter. I'm like, it's about to be the shortest day of the year. Like, it's just, it's not clicking. But we still have self-control. And I think knowing when to not show up is also part of control. And this is where I leave you guys. Happy freaking New Year. You're not going to get another video before the New Year, but you'll definitely get a lot more content in January. And we'll be continuing on, like I say, more of our teaching method, but I definitely wanted to connect with some of you guys here. That was the mess that I kicked out the way. Connect with you guys here. We are still living in a pandemic. I want you guys to be safe. Take care of each other. See you in 2022. And thank God that we're still alive. Subscribe if you like this channel. You guys can follow me, as you know, Tahyira Savanna. Google it, find me anywhere. Listen to my music. My artist name is T Slaves. You guys know I run a podcast, live hangouts. Tahyira Keeps It Too Real, a podcast for Black mental health. All these things are Googleable. You can find me. Also, I'm going to start plugging my business. Make sure you guys read our articles at tremg.info. It's news in progress. We have a lot more content coming. We got investors coming. We got big things coming. Tahyira about to just be a real CEO. So we'll see you next year. Thank you guys so much for sticking around.